On today's Hot Sheet, I'm discussing affordability data on buying versus renting, Zillow's most buyer-friendly markets of the upcoming year, and mortgage applications for the past week. Today is Wednesday, January 28, 2026. I am Byron Lazine, and the Hot Sheet starts now. Live in Naples, Florida. I'll be in Austin, Texas, end of the week. My first keynote of the year at Realty Hack. I think you can still get, I think you go RH-BAM code on realtyhack.com and you can still get a discounted ticket. They probably, I don't know if they sell some left. You can try it. You can try. Okay. And if not, DM me on school and maybe we can get you in. It's my first keynote. I'll be in Austin the end of this week. If you're in driving distance, love to say hello from you. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hot Sheet, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, whether it's the replay, Apple, Spotify, appreciate you. Here on YouTube Live, appreciate you. I see Jason Flory. Shout out to Jason. He's killing it in the call challenge. And, I see the impact he's making on other BAM members, BAMers. And, he's got a shout out. Give Elisa a shout out. As of today, she will have 3 escrows in contract in 24 hours, over 2 million in volume. I love that. Way to go. Awesome stuff there. All right. In order for us to be in position, I was just talking about this on a role play mastermind. By the way, role play mastermind is happening inside a school for BAMX members every single Tuesday before the Hot Sheet. But I was just talking about, energy and skills. We control both each and every single day. Like Jason, I know where his energy's at. I mean, he's up early. I don't know about you guys. I've been up over 5 hours. Like, I'm feeling good about today. That was a choice of mine. I control energy. Anybody who tells you like some outside source is controlling their energy, get away from them. The other thing we control is our skills. That's what this show is all about. Do we have the knowledge necessary to be able to input it, sharpen our skills? I hear people still using the same talk tracks from the 80s. The world's a lot different than it was in the 1980s. I want to work on my skills every single day. I want to stay sharp. The world's changing. And the world changes faster now than ever. And affordability is one of those big conversations. It's everybody thinks everything is so unaffordable. Boy, I mean, I wish I didn't buy in 2004, 5, and 6, because in 2008, I went bankrupt. Okay, it wasn't about the affordability. It wasn't about the access to cash that put me in a position to be successful. Okay, because I had the access to the cash. It was in the middle of the mortgage crisis. Okay, I made a ton of mistakes having access to cash and things being quote unquote affordable. Okay, if I had worked on my skills, my energy, my skills, if I controlled my energy, didn't think that there was some else. Oh, I got to go fast because I'll never be rich if I don't move fast in real estate. This is the fastest path to wealth. Okay. If I had sharpened my skills, worked on my skills and not my speed to scam loans, then you know what? I would have been in a much different position. Okay. Now, sometimes guys like me, sometimes I got to take the hit to learn the hard way. That's what I did. But there's this theory out there right now, and you control the way you think, and you control the way you help people get to the right information. You make those decisions, okay? And right now, there's this theory that nothing is affordable and it never will be. So let's tear down the system. Let's go anti-capitalism. All these different things you hear on the internet today, okay? Now, where are the windows of opportunity? Because they exist in every market. Adam puts out a report here, data on buying more affordable than renting now in a majority of counties, but home prices are rising faster than rents. Okay, so now we've heard the flip a lot. Oh man, renting is more affordable. Okay, Buy or rent in 2026. Dude, if you're in Florida, Texas, Sunbelt states, the clear opportunity is to buy. Okay. I hear a lot of Texas and Florida agents talking about high levels of inventory. Well, why aren't you talking to more buyers? Why aren't you talking to more people in your community who are renting, who could tap into long-term opportunity today? Cheaper to buy or rent. Texas is filled. Florida's filled with opportunities where buying is a no-brainer. West Coast, I get it. Cheaper to rent. Cool. That sounds like an investment opportunity for those that are renting those properties. Okay, so ATTOM, they released this rental affordability report. More than half of the counties analyzed owning a home is more affordable than renting a 3-bedroom property. Wait, I thought nothing was affordable. I thought we live in an affordability crisis that'll never be solved. I get it. Things are a lot less affordable. It's what happens when you let the Fed, shout out Jerome Powell, they're meeting today. They're going to make a decision on the federal funds rate. It's what happens when Congress lets the Fed go and print all that money. We needed all that money. We needed all of it. There's still COVID money that hasn't been spent. Okay. Don't give crack to a drug addict. What do you think is going to happen with it? You think they're going to put it in the garbage can? No, they're going to use it. What do you think the government's going to do with free money? Free money. They're going to print it even if they don't have a use for it. Listen, people want to debate party lines. Is there fraud and abuse? Of course there is. When you just make money out of thin air, of course there's fraud and abuse everywhere. It's not a party line thing. It's an obvious thing. It's common sense. So are things less affordable? Sure. We've hit a new price level. Is it impossible to buy a home today? No, certainly not. Is it harder from a solo, salary than a dual income? Of course it is. Well, is that fair? I didn't ask you what was fair. I asked what was possible. We can acknowledge that things are less affordable today, at the same time providing opportunity. I'm sick and tired of hearing on the internet how, Gen Z will never be able to buy a home. Bull. In 10 years, we'll see Gen Z owning a ton of real estate. I thought in 2004, I'll never be able to buy a home if I don't hurry up and get on it. I went bankrupt on December 31st, 2008, because I bought 3 homes on 4 mortgages, didn't know what I was doing, didn't have skills, rushed into it, made a ton of mistakes, and then watched a whole bunch of people the same age as me scoop up properties like the ones I foreclosed on for pennies on the dollar, 30 cents of what I paid for them. You might not be able to buy a house today. 3 years. Things could look a lot different in 3 years. I don't know what it'll be. Maybe wages take off so much because people using AI have been able to increase their value exponentially and increase their wages. But see, I don't fear AI. I accept the opportunity. Maybe in 3 years, there will be just a flat movement on home prices. We don't know. Maybe prices will be flat for 3 years, but wages go up, rates come down. What happens in those scenarios? Affordability improves. Predicting that the future will look like Gen Z or some other group or some other person will never be able to buy a home is a loser message, and it doesn't offer solutions. Oh, where are the windows of opportunity today? Okay, well, it looks like in the Southeast, in the Sunbelt states, even in pockets look at Jersey, pockets of the Midwest for sure. There's a ton of opportunities where it's cheaper to buy or rent. I don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't hear anybody talking about these. Sam says, I'm on the edge of sounding like a doomer. I disagree. I think I'm quite the opposite of sounding like a doomer says you'll never be able to buy a house. I don't believe that. A doomer says because of where home prices are, your kids will never be able to buy. Both my girls are going to own homes. Okay. I guarantee you that. So we got to start looking for the opportunities. Being the voice of reason in your market is knowing the insights inside and out in your market. Renting was more affordable, yes, in 42.3% of counties. What does that mean? Buying was more affordable in 58%. Here in Monticello, Indiana, is cheaper to buy than rent. On 54 sold last year, my avatar was 230K. Yeah, Midwest is a huge opportunity. Like, I want to own a home in Beverly Hills as my first home. Well, yeah, that's because you're on IG all day and you're looking at the top 0.1% of what life looks like. And then you think your first, home should be on Rodeo Drive. I don't think so. Look at Indiana. Oh, I don't want to live in Indiana. Okay. All right. I'll tell you. The analysis covered 364 counties, populations of 100,000 or more. And what they're saying right now is the balance has shifted where buying is actually more affordable. Well, I need to build up some cash. Okay, so 2 years, you got to build up some cash. Median single-family home prices rose faster or declined less than 3-bedroom rents in 69% of counties. Hey, one of the reasons home ownership has become a little shaky on, buyers, not pulling the trigger is when you own something, you have an expectation of what it's going to look like. We've lost this, getting a property to the level of where you want to end up. We want everything at once, right? We want inflation put in a microwave when it's really going to take putting it in the oven and waiting all afternoon for the temperature to pop. Inflation has trended down since the disastrous 9% when Jerome Powell called it transitory. It has trended down. Everybody wants everything put in a microwave because they remember in 2020, for a month we thought the world was going to end and then the government sent us checks. What is that? That conditions a mind to say, there's going to be a quick solution to everything. No, homeownership's not a quick solution. I tried to do it quick when I was 19 years old. I tried like hell to do it really quick, get rich quick. And I got put on my butt. I went bankrupt, lost 3 homes. Yeah, try to do this stuff quick. Go ahead. This isn't trading Bitcoin. Real estate's a long-term play. So here's the most populous counties where home prices rose faster than rents. Okay. So LA, Harris County, Maricopa County, San Diego County, Orange County, and very expensive counties. Get it? Again, I want to buy my first home in the gas lamp district in San Diego. That doesn't sound like a first home neighborhood, dude. Most populous counties where rents rose faster than home prices. Cook County, Alameda County, California, Palm Beach County, Hillsborough County, Orange County. Okay. Florida, not the Orange County, California that we just did. So look at that. Florida, huge opportunity to go ahead and start buying. Why? There's a ton of inventory in Florida. Regional ownership versus renting patterns. Midwest, 81.5%. It's the most affordable. It's the most affordable of the 4 regions. South 66, Northeast 48, West 16. Counties with the largest affordability gaps favoring ownership. Okay, Collier County, 70.1% to own versus 119.4%. Ownership costs versus rent as a share of typical wages. Collier County, the county I'm sitting in right now. I had some people down here, Collier County's Naples, Florida. Somebody down here, oh my God, this is beautiful last week. Like, man, what do you think of an investment property down here? Like a rental price? I think they suck. I mean, Naples, Florida, a rental property. Nobody wants to rent here, dude. People come down here, pay cash for things. Okay. People don't want to rent here. Just because it's a beautiful area, people don't want to rent here. I think buying something to rent is not ideal. What about Airbnb? You got 4 months and you can do it monthly. I've always thought Airbnbs outside of a few markets, people are kidding themselves on how much money they're making versus the expenses and the work and the wear and tear. You saw it was sexy for a while. It doesn't seem that sexy anymore. A lot of people are wanting to get out of their Airbnbs. Suffolk County, New York, on the list, largest affordability gap favoring ownership. Taylor County, Mobile County, Harrison County. All right, there's opportunities in every market. If you're saying things, I don't want to work with an agent, an advisor, an expert who's saying, man, things are never going to be, it's going to be hard to ever buy a home. Dude, here are the opportunities. Here are the windows. Here are the windows I see in my market. Here's how long I think building the plan will take. And I'm with you all the way. I think those are really smart plans. Okay, Zillow's got a report out there on what are the best markets to buy in right now. Okay, so best markets for home buyers in 2026, where buyers do have leverage, where buyers have upside. Okay, so here are Zillow's most friendly markets for buyers. Talking about Indianapolis, number 1 on the list. Atlanta. We looked at this the other day. Atlanta's just got a ton of inventory. What else does Atlanta have? High cancellations from buyers. Why? Because there's so much inventory. There's so much confusion. Man, if a seller gets a cancellation, they got to go back on the market. What goes up for that seller a lot of times? Motivation. These are markets where you have motivated sellers. You always have stubborn sellers. You can't turn a stubborn seller into a highly motivated seller without time wearing them down. But in these markets, you have the most motivated sellers, which for buyers, you have the biggest opportunities. You have the negotiating opportunity. Indianapolis, Atlanta, Charlotte, Jacksonville, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Detroit, Miami, Tampa, Pittsburgh. There's a ton of opportunity in Florida. There's a ton of opportunity right now in the southeast parts of the country. Okay, looking at what has sold in the past, rear view mirror doesn't tell a buyer what their opportunity is moving forward in high inventory markets. Okay. And this is what Zillow's talking about. What makes a market best for buyers right now? What would make it cooling now? Okay, not what, the sale prices still seem high in Miami. Okay, well, that's the past. What's the deal that you can get in the future? Things are cooling now, but there's upside ahead. You think Miami is going to be less attractive in 10 years? I know Redfin wants you to believe that they're going to be floating around in the Atlantic Ocean somewhere in 10 years. But I know I got a little bit of faith in humanity to innovate. I don't know. Jeff Bezos seems like a pretty smart guy. He's still dropping 60, 80 million on a waterfront house there. I get it. Anything can happen. Markets score higher when Zillow Home Value Index shows downward month-over-month momentum currently. Okay, more affordable monthly burden. So exactly what Adam's talking about. Hey, there's more affordability now shifting towards a buyer in that market, and there's more negotiation leverage. Man, I mean, when I was looking at, the beginning of the year, we're going to talk about mortgage applications here for the week. I'm looking at the beginning of the year, mortgage applications are up, moving in the right direction. Those were instantaneous opportunities to say to people who are interested in buying over the next year, like, you've got a window here. What does that mean for your affordability? Maybe we can get a closing cost added in and get the rate down even more by buying the rate down. And I had somebody the other day ask me, man, what should I be like? Buyers have been sitting on the fence. Well, I'm having a hard time figuring out maybe what kind of information I should call them with. Dude, you just had the golden opportunity of the last 3 years 2 weeks ago. I mean, it got washed away. Trade escalations happened. You can't control global environments. You can control your energy today. You can control your skills. But you can't control, the trade escalation happens and, there's a sell-off on the 10-year and boom, rates go back up. But you had a couple weeks. You had a week of the lowest point in 3 years. I mean, sometimes you don't get to choose when you make the phone call and bring the information to people. When the information is relevant, that's when you bring the information to people. I love all these talk tracks. Oh man, I got this script that's been working great for me since 1989. Okay. I don't know. Try it. See how relevant you sound. See how sharp and conscious of what's going on that you said. Doesn't mean you got to agree with all these doomer tracks. It mean you're just walking. I don't walk around like being the most optimistic guy. I'll acknowledge both sides, but I want opportunity. There's opportunity in every market. I'm not going to go sit in a corner and sulk and then maybe in 3 years the government will figure it out for me. No. There's buyer-friendly markets now. There's opportunities now. Okay? There's places where there's more competition. Hartford, Connecticut, Buffalo, New York. There's places where you're seeing more affordability. OKC, Pittsburgh. There's opportunities now. There's tons of inventory in Miami. LA's always going to be expensive. Okay? New York City's always going to be expensive. If you're fresh out of college getting a job in New York City, yeah, you should have a roommate. You're starting out. Oh, I can't afford an apartment in New York City. No kidding. And you wouldn't have been able to 20 years ago either. Stop crying about it. Stop pretending like it'll never happen for you. Because you watch somebody on IG talking about, capitalism is bad, and you bought into it because you're feeling bad for yourself because you made the decision to rack up 10 years of college debt. Hundreds of thousands of college debt. And listen, we all make mistakes. I went bankrupt in real estate. I'm glad I did it in real estate. I could go bankrupt. You can't go bankrupt on college debt. I get it. We all make mistakes. I was told I'd never be able to buy a house. I'd have to wait 7 years and have to have perfect credit. I bought a house in less than 5. I went out there and got back to work. Built my credit up very quickly. For about 4 years, did I take, any weekends off? I didn't. No. Oh, well, I don't want to work that much. Okay. Then you made the decision. Here are the most buyer-friendly markets of 2026. Well, I don't want to live in any of these. Okay. Well, then rent in New York City, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Charlotte, Jacksonville, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Detroit, Miami, Tampa, Pittsburgh. Okay. What's the next group? Columbus, Nashville. Huge up. You think Nashville is going to be less of a city in 10 years? I don't. Orlando. Orlando is expanding and booming, and jobs are coming in. Louisville, Houston. Dude, Raleigh, that's one of my favorite markets for upside over the next 10, 15 years, and there's opportunities in it right now. Birmingham, Alabama. Cleveland, Ohio, Philly, Kansas City, San Antonio. So, I mean, you can negotiate in San Antonio right now. Vegas. I mean, they keep every other year they get a new professional sports team in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a real. Don't listen just because you saw on TikTok, oh my gosh, this winter the streets were empty in Vegas. You keep getting a sports team every other year. You're bringing jobs in. The streets aren't going to be empty. Man, tourism is down. It'll be that way forever. I hope your mental state isn't that way forever. All right, I hope mortgage applications aren't this way forever, the way they were this week. Mortgage applications decreased 8.5% from the week earlier, according to Mortgage Banker Association. So this includes an adjustment for MLK Day and all the momentum. We were looking at this great momentum we had the first couple weeks. I got real excited about mortgage application momentum, and it got washed away. Listen, just a little bit of an uptick on the rates. Oh man, I didn't tell anybody about the rate opportunity. Well, what were you doing? Purchase index decreased 0.4% from 1 week earlier. So 0.4% from a week earlier. The unadjusted purchase index decreased 4% from the previous week. Now, what we do like to see, because we had big gains last year, is that the numbers rolling in now, while may not be as good as the week prior when we had lower rates, they're exponentially higher than they were a year ago. So this tells us the spring this year, we should be able to level up from where we were last year. Okay? We should be incrementally better than where we were last year. We're not going to be in some crazy market, okay? Because last year, where were we? We're at low levels that we've seen in GFC recovery times and 1995 recovery times as it relates to mortgage applications. But 18% higher from those low levels, and we've seen that now week over week, these double-digit improvements year over year means we are heading in the right direction. Okay, so mortgage rates did increase for the first time in a month. From this data point here, from this mortgage application data point, refinances fell by 16% because of that. 30-year fix was the highest in 3 weeks. FHA refinance activity bucked the overall trend and increased. So FHA refinances went up while overall refinances went down. Rates, though, holding in that low 6% range, the refinance market is likely to remain sensitive week to week. Okay. People looking for that right opportunity. Purchase applications being 18% higher than last year's pace is a good sign for future pacing activity. Mortgage Banker Association's update on mortgage applications for last week. All right. 10-year Treasury here as we start the day, coming in at 4.255. That's towards the higher end of what we've seen over the last 5 days, certainly towards the higher end of the last 30 days, and towards the high end of the last 3 months. Okay, so 10-year, kind of, I would say, moving sideways, a tick higher throughout the week as we get into the first day of the FOMC meeting here. The committee led by Jerome Powell is meeting today. They'll finish that meeting tomorrow. Jerome Powell will do his, they met yesterday and they're meeting today. Jerome Powell will do his presser later today. And we will have the full breakdown of the Fed decision. So I don't expect much movement on the 10-year until Jerome Powell gets up there today, does his presser, Q&A. We know what the markets are saying. There is no chance, essentially, that there is going to be a Jerome Powell decision with the committee today that results in a Fed funds rate cut. 99% chance that there will be no change. In fact, the March meeting has an 84% no change. April has a 71% chance no change. We'll look at what, changes maybe happen for March and April's meetings based on Jerome Powell's presser. What does he say about the future? What does he say about the tensions DOJ investigations, tensions with the president. What does he say about the job market? Does he think the 30,000 cuts that we saw yesterday is a one-off or something that we're going to see in succession here across multiple sectors and companies moving forward? Does he have concerns about the job market? That would lead to maybe a cut coming faster. Is the job market, truthful in the signals we've seen early in the year, and it's maybe stronger than what people believed in the fourth quarter of last year? Okay, what's the thoughts on inflation? These are the things that we're going to be looking for, how he answers those questions. Certainly the expectation is he'll stay in the chairperson seat, till May. And now the expectation is, well, gee, if he's being investigated, Congress isn't going to approve anybody else. He may be in it all year. Does he allude to that? Does that impact investors on how they think about cuts? There was an expectation in May, Trump's going to get his pick and that cuts are going to be happening. Where do we see that all kind of moving forward? We're going to have the full breakdown in every mention that Jerome Powell says in his prepared statements, as well as the presser tomorrow, as it relates to housing and as it relates, obviously, to the greater economy on rates. The mortgage rate yesterday came in at 6.15. That was a tick lower than Monday's reading and a tick lower than where we were last week in the 6.2 range. So 6.15 on the 30-year fixed. When you look at the last 3 years, this is a very low level. We don't have to be at 6.01, which we hit for like a day, to talk about the 3-year lows. We're kind of there, okay? That's not too far off from it. So still good opportunity to get rates in front of people who are thinking about making a move this year. Remember, Realtor.com's projected average is at 6.3. This is under the projected average for the year, meaning Realtor.com believes in their projections, and they were deadly accurate last year, that the rest of this year is going to be higher than where we're at today. Now, none of us know what's actually going to be true on rates, but you do have a chief economist who nailed it last year, saying, I believe it'll be higher. My team believes it'll be higher for the rest of the year on the averages than where we are today, meaning there'll be moments in time where it is somewhere around the low sixes, and then there'll be moments in time where it's higher than 6.3 to get the average. Okay, so the opportunities are everywhere around us. If you let the narrative be controlled by the doomers who are out there, then don't ask questions. Well, why are buyers so hesitant right now? Why do they lack confidence? Look at yourself. Did you have the energy or the skills to infuse confidence in their decision making? Confidence can be impacted by new thoughts, a new conversation, a new perspective, new facts, new slides. Every slide that we do on the hot sheet every single day, talk about being relevant and up to the moment. Every single day, every slide we do is put into BAMX on school. So, do you want to rely on a 1985 script, or do you want to be relevant, fresh in the moment? BAMX members just going to school. You want one of the hot sheet slides? They're all there every single day. Right inside of the hot sheet classroom. Every role play mastermind that we do, every script that we use, uploaded into school. So you have it at your fingertips. Your energy, your skills. I started talking, this hot sheet a little bit about that. Those are two things that you can control. And with those two, you can control the level of confidence somebody has. If you leave them to their own devices of letting the internet tell them everything is bad, well, that's what they're going to believe. All right, good luck today. Hope you guys have a great day. Haley, we got anything here that I'm missing?
Office hours later.
Office hours today. Content audits for BAMX members, 3 p.m. Eastern. So Eric, the broke agent, Simon, conducting content audits. Bring your IG to the table with the guy who's built the biggest organic following in our space and say, hey, have a look at it. Here's what's holding me back. Here's where, what do you think is the obvious to improve on? 3 o'clock Eastern today. School.com/BAMX will open up Haley will open up the 7-day trial. If you want to jump into that and try it out and see what BAMX is all about, you can go to school.com/BAMX and try it out today. All right. Good luck today, guys. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, of course, toodaloo.